Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So my background is vegetable grower, commercial vegetable grower. So I was a grower for about 12 years, and then about 10 years ago joined the Soil Association, and I now work part-time for them, and then get involved in various other projects. At the moment I'm in project managing an agroforestry plantation, 200 acres of mixed trees and livestock, looking at a lot of nut trees and stuff, which is quite interesting. And the Soil Association, I'm sure needs no introduction, so I won't go into that, but if people have questions about that, feel free, and at any point just stop me and ask a question. Very happy to be interrupted. So originally I was going to talk about CSA, but then I was also asked to cover a couple of other bits. So I thought what might be interesting is to just give a little, we released our organic market report a month or so ago, so I've pulled out just a few bits from there and a few trends as to why people are buying organic at the moment. And although sometimes you might think it's obvious, actually it seems to change over time as to what is the main motivation for people buying organic. So we had some research done last year that pulls out a bit of that. And also I was asked to talk a little bit about support mechanisms for organic farming. I mean, it's not an area that I'm particularly expertise in because horticulture tends to rely less on support than some other sectors, but I'll go through a little bit about what the mechanisms are in the UK at the moment, and then some of the organisations that are supporting organic producers as well, before moving on to the CSA bit. So, this is based on research that was done last year. Seems to be six, and people have to pacify and marketers put out things, so some of it's a bit, But anyway, mistrust. So every food scandal is great for organics. Suddenly people get worried about how their food's produced. We see a spike in sales. Usually what happens is it goes up and then drops, but not quite to the level from below. So, the horse meat scandal saw a spike in sales even in areas like fresh produce that you think that's got nothing to do with horses. Actually, it seems to be across the board. Suddenly people start to think about where their food comes from. A more recent one is farmer empathy. So particularly the dairy sector in the UK has seen this where, 20 years ago it was all about farmer fat cats, raking the profit. Now actually everyone realises that farmers are in a pretty bad place at the moment. So there's a lot of sympathy and empathy for farmers, people wanting to support the farmer, and that ties in actually quite a lot to the community supported agriculture bit that we'll come on to later. Waste is an increasing one. People don't like waste. A lot of food gets wasted at all stages in the chain. Potentially, again, CSA is a real solution for reducing waste. And there's a CSA in the UK where someone did a master's looking at the waste through the chain on that CSA, and he tracked not only waste in the field, waste in the pack house, but he also tracked through the CSA members what they were taking home, and they returned their waste to him and he weighed it. The whole waste over the entire chain was 10% compared to 50 or 60% in a standard system. So waste is another big motivation. Convenience is increasingly, people are busy, they don't know how to cook, they've got, running around after their children. I speak from personal experience of this club and that club, So even when you're really into food and you want to eat good food, actually the more you can cut out your time of preparation, that's a real motivation for people. And in non-organic sector, we're seeing a massive rise in convenience food, so peeled and chopped carrots, mashed potatoes, all this stuff that you just take out of the bag and put on your plate. I think that will go into organics. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I think it will happen. And I think if there are opportunities, for doing that cleverly without it compromising the quality or the ethics of the produce potentially. So inform people feel disconnected from farming, from food. They want to know more about where their food comes from, and again that's a huge motivation in people getting involved in community supported agriculture, is they just want to understand, they want to know a farmer, they want to know what happens So that's it's the flip side of the mistrust bit, is they want to understand more. And then I think one that is fairly standard is the health thing. We know that people that are interested in their health and want to be healthy will turn to organics. So you probably can't see these, but this is another sort of marketing speak where they kind of split into 6 different types of people. So you have the principled strivers, who are the people that are, sorry, it is a bit fuzzy, but they're busy working, but they really want to do the right thing. You've got the food adventurers, so they love food and they're willing to spend a bit more for really good food, and they're interested in provenance and quality. You've got the trend lovers, so these are the people who do it because organic happens to be trendy and fancy, and they're the ones who follow the celebrities. You've got the caring parents, so again we know that baby food way outstrips every other organic market. It's 60% of the baby food market is organic. But once they're about 3 or 4, we don't care anymore, we can feed them other stuff. They're healthy lifestylers, so they're the ones that just very driven by health, and they'll be really interested in the pesticide story and that stuff. And then the practical idealists, who probably is a lot of the people in this room who are, they care about the deep pushes, they understand a lot of it, and they're very motivated, they seek out a lot of organic, and certainly that would probably be where I'd place myself. So again, it's another way of looking probably at similar issues to the last 6, but it sort of potentially helps you in terms of marketing produce and who you're aiming at. So, I do have the full market report on a PDF which we can look at after the main presentation if people want to go into see some of the other stuff, but I've just pulled out a few slides. So what actually might be worth starting on that one. So this is a comparison with non-organic, and it goes from December 2013, which was basically the tail end of the recession. So previous to this, we would have seen a graph in organic sales doing that as we dropped during the recession. So that's the trough, as it were, in June of 2014. Since then, we've seen a steady rise up to there, which is about the same level as we were in 2008. But the interesting comparison is what's happened in non-organic sales at the same time. So we're very much against the trend of main food sales. And as you can see, that's kind of trundling along. It hasn't really changed over the last 2 or 3 years. So that, to me, is quite interesting. So we're now £2.09 billion of organic sales. And then the key things are the supermarket share is up 6.1%. That's the independent sales. I've got another chart which shows it a bit more clearly. The home delivery is another interesting thing. So what we've noticed is where there is choice, people will buy more organic. So often you'll go into the supermarket, they want to buy organic, it's not there, but they still need to eat, so they buy what's on the shelf. For instance, Ocado, where they have a massive organic range, sell a lot more organic food. They hugely overtrade in organic because they're able to stock the range because they don't have to stick it on a shelf and give it shelf space in a store. So again, that's interesting. One we like to boast about is that Soil Association licensees have seen a 10% increase against the average of 7.1. So we like to think there's a value in the brand. The other really interesting one is the catering one, which is catering outlets was 19% growth, admittedly from a smaller start. But one of the big growth areas we're seeing generally is in catering. That's both public and private. So there's a lot of restaurants more and more interested in local provenance and organic provenance. And there are some. We've got this thing called the catering mark, which is it's a bronze, silver, gold standard where you get points for local provenance for MSC fish for leaf, but also then for organic at silver and gold. And that's driving organic sales as well. So that's a really interesting development. So again, these are the percentage growth by sales outlets. So the first one is the supermarket, so it sort of shows you where it was 2015, 2016. That's the independent sales. So for the past 2 years, the independent sales were significantly outperforming by growth as the supermarket. So the supermarket was either steady or growing a tiny bit. This year we've actually seen supermarket sales grow and independent sales grow, so the shares remain roughly even. That's the home delivery. So again, that's kind of, it's the Riverfords, the Noble and Coles, it's the big box schemes, but it's also things like Ocado. And then that's the catering, food service bit.